Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a nice tabletop video for you guys, and it's going to be talking about the Streamlight TL1-HL, specifically a knockoff version. So as you can see here, I have my actual Sig P320 M17 with the optic on top. That's how you can tell the difference, as well as this is going to be the real Streamlight TL1-HL, the black one. And then over here I have my Airsoft version, which I thought was fitting. So fake light is going to be on the fake gun, from no optic and orange tipped barrel. So without further ado, let's go into the differences and why I went ahead and got the fake knockoff version. So firstly, let's show clear. All right, nothing in there. There we go. There's no magazine and Airsoft anyhow, but don't want to break my monitor. And then this is the real one. And of course, nothing in there, no magazine, and nothing in there. And it's pretty clean. So we'll take that. So the real one, which I love, it's fantastic, it's very bright, as you can see right there, and I'm going to show some comparisons between the actual brightness of the lights if you wanted to use this for Airsoft or other applications. Specifically, the reason I got it is for training. Now, as you can see here, this is my Tier 1 holster, and it is built specifically to house the light. So I wanted to have, a comparable for my Airsoft gun to be able to fit in here without needing to take this one off and put it in here, and I can happily say that it does fit snugly. However, it is not the exact same fit, and I'm going to go into detail about that. And as you can see on the right side, I have another holster, and this thing is awesome. It is the Omnivore, and essentially this allows any modern size handgun with a Picatinny rail to be able to fit the TL1-HL, and it snaps right into place. So I'm going to go ahead and show this with the real one, and you can hear the click right there, and now this is snugly in there. Now, I can attest that it can come out, and this is essentially really good for the range so that you can basically test your draw and be able to just do that essentially, but it's not meant to be a real security holster or anything like that. However, I wanted to get a cheaper alternative to be able to, again, not have to take my light off and be able to put it on more handguns, and that way be able to take this to the range and just swap between handguns without needing to take the light off of each one. So that is another very important reason why I got this. And you can see here, this is nice and snug. If I click the button, it comes right out. So let's go ahead, do the same thing with this. And you can see right here, it is already giving me some issues. Now it does go in, it just has to be at the right angle. So I'm gonna turn this more downward than I would normally. Nope, there we go, okay. So apparently it has to be perfectly straight. And this is gonna lock in there really, really good. Like a little bit too good. And now I'm gonna click the button and it comes right out. So it does work, yes, but the reholstering specifically, and I really don't wanna break this at the same time on the Omnivore, is a little bit finicky. Now, if you push in the button, it goes in no problem. So if you're okay somehow pushing this in while you're putting it into the holster, which is really hard to do off body, so I apologize about that, as well as getting out of focus as I bring the handgun closer to the camera lens. But essentially, if you push this down at the same time, it goes in perfectly fine. So you can do this if your hands are big enough. I happen to have little baby hands, so that's not gonna work very well for me, and I'm a little bit disappointed in the fake one for that reason. Now, you're gonna see on screen some comparisons between the actual strength of the light, and I'm going that firstly going to be on strobe as well as not on strobe, and what you can see right now is essentially almost the same performance. I would say the fake one, the knockoff, is a little bit less. They do take the exact same battery, so if you already have a bunch of spares or you happen to get those from your brother-in-law, my case, thank you Ari, then this is going to work out very, very well for you. However, it's a little disappointing that at the same time, since this is a knockoff version, you kind of may as well make it rechargeable. I don't know. I'm not sure who's buying this specifically to use those same batteries. Honestly, I would have wanted to see it as a rechargeable version. That's just me, maybe, but yeah, either way. The light is pretty good. Now, I haven't done an actual battery comparison to see which one of these can stay on longer, but I can tell you that from all my testing, I have not had any particular issues with the light itself. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. All right, so you can see both over here, and these are just laying on the table. Now, of course, this one has an optic, so I'm going to push both of these down. You can already see the stream of light. Huh? See what I did there? Streamlight. So anyhow, is much wider on this one on the left compared to the real one. So that would also be why at further distances, there's going to be a very significant difference there. All right, let's get that back into focus and view. So on top of that, let's talk about the actual quality of these pieces, especially if you were thinking of picking one up for airsoft. Will these be durable and compared to the real one? So again, these are not difficult to take off. I can already tell you the main difference that you will feel actually is this screw right over here. So this screw, for whatever reason, and the fake one, is much cheaper. It maybe is plastic or just a very, very cheap aluminum. And unfortunately, that does not bode as well, and it doesn't feel as high quality. The spring tension is good. It will lock on, and I'll go ahead and swap these just to show that. So that's gonna fit snugly on there, and I can tighten this down. And I already did some actual shooting with this on, and it had no problems taking the recoil. However, the screw was a little bit loose when I came back to it. It was more, you know, I could have twisted it a little tighter. So I don't know if that was error on my part, because a lot of the time I just hand twist these on. I don't actually use a coin or a bullet to tighten these. However, yeah, it was just loose after shooting, but it didn't come off at all. Like, this is snug, it's not going anywhere, and I trust it. So that is a cool part. Another thing is going to be concerning the locking mechanisms in here. So these are the pieces that allow you to actually fit both of these onto your handgun, depending on, you know, there's different sizes of Picatinny from different manufacturers. So the bag on your right is going to be the bag that came with the real Streamlight, and then the bag on your left is going to be the one that came with the fake one. And I forgot to mention that the fake one, or knockoff I should say, from AliExpress, came with this nice box, which included an Allen wrench, spare screws. Did not come with this, sorry about that. That's the real one. And a little manual over here, another Allen key, maybe. But it has this nice carrying case, so if you know you want to protect your $32 investment, then you can go ahead and keep it in there, or you can keep something else in there, maybe an optic or something else. So that is a nice little case, works well. There's no locking or anything on it, so if you wanted to keep, I don't know, ammunition or something in here, you can't do that. But it's a nice little box, and you can put a sticker on here or something. I have no idea what the heck this is. It's just, yeah, it says made in China and some recycling material. There's no branding on the box at all, just a product number, I guess. So that's interesting. But either way, what I wanted to specifically show is what's very interesting for both of these, the real one and the knockoff, is that they are different sizes. There we go. Okay, so I got it to refocus, and as you can see right here, now these are different sizes. This is going to be TSW compared to Glock, but you can immediately tell that these are very different in terms of dimension and size. So this one has the plate on the top over there, and that's exactly as you see it here. So it goes in like so, sits in like that, and let's see if I can get this back in focus. Yeah, essentially that's how that sits in there. And then for the Streamlight, there's a little bit of space on the top over there. Yeah, there we go. And same thing for over here. So these are not interchangeable whatsoever. I was kind of hoping, oh, I can always use these, you know, as spares from the fake one to go back to the real one. If I ever lost one of these, because they come in this bag that doesn't even have a Ziploc feature. So that was always a concern of mine, but unfortunately you can't do that. So if you're looking for a cheap replacement for these specific pieces, reach out to Streamlight. I'm sure they will give you a good deal. So yeah, in terms of build quality and paint finish, if that matters to you, then Streamlight is definitely also, you know, way better in terms of like overall clickiness, you know, that you'll get on AliExpress products, right? Just sounds cheaper. That was a little quieter, but you can just tell like this is a better, firmer made product. And I don't have a problem like banging it, throwing it, right? This thing can take abuse like crazy and has an amazing warranty. This, on the other hand, I'm more concerned by. It will still work, you know, I trust it. I don't know how much I trust it in underwater conditions. Now, it does have good sealing, and I haven't tested this, but I think you can even use the battery doors. I don't see much of a difference between the two. So let's go ahead, open these up. So again, they take the same battery, and there we go. You can see here, just looking at the spring sizes, they are basically exactly the same. I think the mount on this one is a lot cheaper, like it's moving more left and right compared to the Streamlight. That's way more solid. But in terms of will this work with one another, I don't see why not. However, I did not test that specifically. But if you're looking for maybe a cheap replacement rear, because I've seen a couple of these on eBay that are just missing the rear, then this might be a good option. Another interesting thing is the knockoff version has a little bit longer of the actual activation knobs over here. So you can see that right away. In terms of dimensions overall, the knockoff is longer. You can see that right there. Let's go ahead and try to line these up as best as possible. Yeah, there you go. So that could be, you know, exactly the reason that they don't fit perfectly inside of the holster. And I'm gonna still show that once again, exactly the difference there. But most likely it is because, I'll try to line these up again, just so you can see that. And let's see if we can even zoom in a little. There we go. So in terms of how these connect, right, we talked about the difference over here already, but in terms of overall length, the bezel on this one, I don't know if this is actually called the bezel, but the round part over here, this part is a little bit longer, and that might also be the reason that it just doesn't sit, especially in a holster like this, because it has an ending, right? There's an end wall over there. So obviously, since this is a little bit longer, it's going to protrude a little bit more and have the rest of the firearm protrude a little bit more because of that. So let's go ahead, where I'm gonna put these both on the real Sig P320 just to get an accurate comparison between the two. So there we go. You can see how that sits, tighten that down. Very nice. And let's put this in the holster. Okay, let's zoom out. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can see how much the safety on the M17 is protruding, which I'm happy that we have a good benchmark just from that. You can see it's fully actuatable. The worst part is the trigger is completely exposed. I can put my whole finger in there and pull it if I wanted to or needed to. Again, the firearm is clear, so no concern. But yeah, that's a major concern. Other parts are also more exposed. So if you're looking for a perfect, accurate representation or knockoff, this is not going to do it. I would suggest, you know, sticking with the real one if you want a perfect matching example. Let's go ahead and swap to the real one just to get that perfect comparison. So, give me 1 second here. You can feel while clamping this one down, either the spring fighting you more or it's just a much more firm clasp as well. So I want to highlight that. And now you can see that, you know, why Tier 1 is really, really good, because they, you know, specifically make the holster per the firearm. You can see the safety is perfectly in there. And you can see that the trigger guard, I can try to get my finger in there, but that one's not going to fit. Maybe my pinky. Nope. Yeah, perfectly protected. And that's why I trust this with my life, even though, yes, it is a P320. Ha ha ha. Okay. Now, we already spoke about the difference in here, but since this one has a much longer bottom, we can see that this fits, and where the safety sits is right beside the button. The button is actually blocking the safety just a little bit. You can see over there. And let's go ahead, swap this out again. And again, the tension here is way better than on the fake one. There we go. And let's go ahead and put that on there. Again, I'm holding down the button, otherwise it doesn't really like to go in. And you can see in terms of placement, it's also blocking it just a little, but actually, it's almost roughly the same place. So on this, you're gonna get a more accurate representation, but there's a lot more wiggle. You don't have that on the real one. So again, it's a knockoff. It doesn't mount exactly the same way. Does it get the job done? Depending on what you're using it for. If you're using it for airsoft, then yes, I would say, you know, it's gonna hold up, it's durable, it's worth the $32 if you're looking for that, that tactical look, or you want an actual use case. So you can see it still jiggles, but definitely not as much. And yeah, I'm gonna say it actually blocks the safety a good amount more. Yeah, so that's interesting in terms of sizing and spacing. That should give you the full comparison between both of these. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Is this worth your money? I'm gonna leave that up to you at the end of the day. But of course, in my opinion, it is worth your money as long as you're planning on using it specifically for training and or airsoft. However, if you're planning on using this to completely replace the real one, it's not really a competition in that regard. It's not gonna hold up as well. You're not gonna have the same warranty or customer service, and I wouldn't trust this with my life, and personally, I would trust this any day of the week. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Don't forget to comment any questions you have, of course, and subscribe, especially if you're new here. Have a great day. All the best.